And more of our At Issue season ender now. Chantal, Andrew, and Rex are here in the studio. Alan is joining us from Vancouver. Best political play of the season. Chantal, what was it?
Stephen Harper, first time this year, probably his best week as Prime Minister since the last election, with the exception of the Obama visit. Sees that plaque that Mr. Ignatieff was handing him so nicely, and looked cooperative, something he needs to do, managed to avoid an election, stays in power, gets time, and also gets to fix his own stance on EI. If he'd done the opposite and said no, he would have woken up this morning with the three Western premiers, his biggest allies, shooting at him on EI. So all in all, a win-win, and it was well managed. And he didn't even plan it. As you said, it's given to him. Andrew.
I'll go back to the Ignatieff his handling of the budget and its aftermath. If for no other reason than the look of betrayal on Jack Layton's face, which was quite delicious to behold, he was able to bust apart the coalition in one stroke. He looked statesmanlike in regard. I think he correctly read more than most of the leaders the post-coalition mood of the public, which was they were in no mood for hyperpartisanship, and he bought himself some time. It was exactly the right move at that time. The trouble was he came back this week and tried to make the same play again, and he couldn't do it quite as successfully this time.
Alan.
For sheer brutish effectiveness, I've got to say Stephen Harper's campaign against the coalition, followed by proroguing the House and saving his political skin. I mean, he was a dodo bird. He was gone. But he rallied his troops, and he had a strategy, and whether you agreed or not, it really, really worked.
Mm-hmm. At what price?
Well, lots of prices. I mean, when you get to the worst political play, we can talk about that.
Okay. Rex, last one on the best political play.
Chantal and Alan have kind of defeated my logic, but I'll stick with what I have anyway. I think it was the moment that Mr. Ignatieff did slide into the leadership and kept it until May the 2nd. Anyone with memories of what getting the Liberal leadership of Canada used to mean, he elbows aside Bob Rae. He's a stranger in his own land. He hasn't got the natural base to 30 years of politics and give him. This guy simply walks in and takes what used to be the most golden prize in the entire firmament.
Worst political play. We're getting to it now, Alan, but Andrew starts us.
It's a close tie between the economic statement in the fall and the coalition, but I'll go with the coalition. If the Tories overreached in trying to ram through that political fundraising thing, the opposition way overreached in response. They did not need to go nuclear. They could have spent several days or weeks embarrassing the government over it. They had terrible press, terrible public reaction, the Tories did. They could have really made it suffer that. By overreaching instead, they simply turned all of the negative press coverage and all of the public reaction onto themselves. It was a terribly misconceived plan. God save the Liberals that it didn't actually happen, or the party would have been destroyed. That was one of the great mistakes of the ages.
Alan.
Well, probably limiting public financing of the political parties was the thing that set off the chain reaction of everything else. But I'd go back to what I was saying on the best play. I would say that the campaign to discredit the coalition required Harper to demonize the BQ. And with that, he finally established that we are them, not us, in the province of Quebec, put them in single digits in the polls, probably going to have the single biggest impact on the next election. So that has to be the worst play.
Rex.
I'll be terse. I'll do this for you. I'm going to be really brief. It was the coalition, which was the worst political move in the history of the cosmos. And secondly, it was the photograph that accompanied it, the signing ceremony. If you want to put it in a nutshell, those two things. And I'm stopping.
Very good, Rex.
Yeah, I am. I'm learning.
Chantal.
You could say Stéphane Dion's tape, it killed him, but I think the economic statement, because you have to look at consequences when you evaluate a play. And the Liberals, the NDP, and the Bloc all survived the coalition exercise. They're actually 2 out of 3 doing well. But Stephen Harper's damage in Quebec, as Alan talked about, could mean that he will never get a majority, and that changes where he ends up in history.
For the crime of saying that separatists should not actually be participating.
We're not going to debate
transition.
why that is the outcome of the great political play of saving his government, which he wouldn't have needed to save if he hadn't put it in peril needlessly.
Fair enough.
Look at your monitors, please. Who is this person?
Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax.
It's an American senator.
It's not.
Premier of Nova Scotia.
It is.
Thank you, sir.
And his name
Dexter,
is
Premier of Nova Scotia.
Darryl Dexter.
Okay,
you are right,
Of
Rex.
course we are. He's an Atlantic Canadian. How could I not be?
I was busy that day.
First NDP Premier west or east of Ontario. Quite something.
He looks like an American senator.
Who's this? I'll give you one more. chance to make up for your...
That is Jasmine McDonnell for McDonald.
Right.
Lisa rates 8.
Yes.
You see how quickly he found that, eh?
That's very good, Andrew.
Thank you. I think I'm 1 for 14 now.
All right, you got them both. Thanks to Rex, who pulled that one out of the fire. Okay, quickly around the table. Election, when is it going to be? You know people make their decisions based on what you people say. Who will we start with? Alan, when's it going to be?
Well, it'll depend very, very much on what happens with the economy over the rest of the summer and the fall. And that said, I mean, I think it's going to be later rather than sooner, but that we will not see another conservative budget pass. So my best guess is probably February, March 2010.
Okay, Rex.
Alan knows more about these things. I'm saying still the end of September, 1st of October. This fall, the Liberals will be stewing in their own delirious juices all summer, and they will not wait.
Yes, but the NDP and the Bloc won't have any reasons to support them. This will be a Liberal motion the next time confidence comes up. So I'm assuming that if nothing extraordinary happens, the budget is probably the next big hurdle.
So you're saying you're in with Alan?
I'm with Alan in 2010, but I'm not booking holidays next fall.
All right, Andrew.
2012.
Dear Lord.
You need to get all three parties to line up. Every time the Liberals are up in the polls, the others are down in the polls. They can never get their act together.
But they can't support the
My
budget.
prediction is it's going to be 2012.
Chantal, this is called straining for originality.
This is the Price is Right strategy. You go in high.
The interesting thing about minority government is that when anyone has an incentive to have an election, the other people have to have no incentive to have an election.
This is what I'm saying.
So there can be a balancing act that
Plus, if I may mention it,
quite a while.
it's in the law that we have fixed election days.
And we saw,
right.
we saw how much that mattered. 4 years. Very good, Andrew.
If I'm right, I'll be the only one.
we play
You
it
will be the only one.
May
There's
we
no doubt
play it
about
every
that.
year?
Yes, we'll play that often.
Good,
There'll probably be 3 elections before 2012. Listen, we thank you all. And with that, we head for the summer ourselves. At Issue, we'll be back during the holidays if something warrants. But if not, the panel's on hold until September. When the National comes back, your national weather forecast.